by the dawn's early light, was so proudly beheld at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the graduation of the Maayanot class of 2019. My name is Daniel Altman. I'm the president of Maayanot. I want to welcome our graduates, their parents, grandparents, any great-grandparents, great-grandparents, siblings, extended family, and friends. Before we celebrate the achievements of this incredible class, I would like to ask our graduates to take one moment to stand and thank members of their families that sacrificed so that you guys could come to Maayanot. The late-night pickups, the hour drives to practice, and frankly, the financial sacrifice. So I ask the graduates to stand and applaud their family members who are here. Thanks. I'm the father of one Rapids alumnus and the parent of an 11th grader. That means I spend an inordinate amount of time in school and around Maayanot students and graduates. The liveliness, menschlichkeit, and confidence of Maayanot women is a thing to behold. Rav Aaron Lichtenstein at the Chanukah Bayit of Maayanot explained that a Maayan is dynamic. There is movement, vitality, growth. A Maayan is mitgaber, a fountain which overflows. Vitality, growth, challenge, stimulus with regards to all aspects of the personality, while anchored in Yirat Shamayim, and out of that anchor moving, growing, and living in various directions. Like you, if you spend enough time around Maayanot students, you will see that vitality and that growth. Whether it's in the classroom, co-curricular or extracurricular activities, to be a Maayanot student means to take action, to grow. And that growth does not end in this building. Rather, take the lessons you have learned here and be mitgaber, grow in every future step as well. To the class of 2019, thank you for continuing that tradition of growth. You are the leaders of the school who set the tone for the entire student body. You're a fun, lively, energetic group that infuses the school with ruach and spirit. Because of our seniors sitting here in front of you, each week over 250 students come to Mishmar programs. Because of our seniors, Torah learning programs outside the regular hours of school are flourishing. Because of our seniors, Room 217 won the Battle of the Bands. Because of our seniors, they raised thousands of dollars for tzedakah while showing off their artistic abilities at Heartbeats. Because of our seniors, we won both soccer and volleyball championships. And all of our teams competed fiercely while exhibiting tremendous midos on and off the court. We have 17 seniors accepted into Stern Honors and others accepted to the most prestigious colleges in the nation. Our STEAM program is thriving, and we just won first place in 2 areas at the CIJE Innovation Fair. We had a student, Go Malka, came in second in the nationwide Bakiyas program. Our bat mitzvah celebration, organized by our seniors for a girl who could not afford one, and so many other acts of chesed that are done by our students on a daily basis. We have 200 plus students exchanging Torah thoughts and questions on our in-house Torah blog. keeping the Torah conversation lively after the school day is done. Now, while to the outside world this may seem amazing, at Maayanot, just a normal day. How is this possible? It's possible because of the dedication and devotion of your teachers, mechanchot, coaches, advisors, and administrators. For that, I'd like the entire faculty are here to rise so that we as parents and your students can give you a very well-deserving round of applause. Certainly, each member of our exceptionally talented faculty brings to the table his or her own unique set of skills in bringing out the best from our daughters. But these girls are doubly blessed in having an administration that somehow manages to have these various talents coalesce into a finished product that makes Maayanot the premier institution that it is. So I'd like to individually thank Ms. Tamara Pell, Mrs. Bailey Braun, and of course our esteemed Mrs. Rivka Kahan. And as president, I'd like to thank them for making my job as easy as one could hope for. And as a parent, well, thank you for the exact same thing. To the class of 2019, I have one last message. You and your parents made a decision 4 years ago to come to Maayanot, a decision to make lifelong like-minded friends, a decision to come to an environment where Torah learning is alive and flowing, living and breathing, and constantly evolving through your hard work. A decision to come to an institution that provides the highest quality secular education and no question is off the table. A decision to excel in sports, push the boundaries of arts and music, and made a decision to come to school where chesed is not a requirement, but a way of life. Now, as you leave the hallowed halls of Maayanot, do not let the lessons of the school stay stagnant. Be a ma'ayan, constantly grow and evolve. As President Sion Blaylock recently told graduates at Barnard, in 2018, a record number of women were elected to Congress. More women were elected to company boards than ever before, and a woman won the Nobel Prize in Physics for the first time in 50 years. But progress is one thing, parity is another. Even with this upward trajectory, women are far more likely to question their abilities, especially in environments where they've been historically excluded. Well, Maayanot graduates, don't ever question your abilities. You are the best and the brightest. Maayanot has given you the tools and the knowledge, the mentors and friends, and you are capable of greatness. Push forward, make progress, end the wage gap, break through glass ceilings, change the world, and make us all proud. And now, without any further ado, I'd like to ask Mrs. Khan to please say a few words. Thank you.
It's my pleasure to welcome you this evening. Honored parents, grandparents, siblings, and extended families of our graduates, esteemed faculty, friends and supporters of Maayanot, members of the board, and beloved graduates. The opportunity to address you at your graduation is one that I find both precious and daunting. There are so many hopes and reflections that I would love to share with you on behalf of our faculty who have watched your growth over the past 4 years with great pride and wonder. Over the course of high school, you have grown into thoughtful Ovdot Hashem and confident leaders of your peers. You have brought spirit to our school through the model of your own Ruach, Achdus, and friendship. Many of you have an incredible love and drive for learning Torah. Even after senior classes ended this year, you continued to seek the opportunity to learn Torah with your teachers. You have soared in your commitment to chesed, culminating in the beautiful bat mitzvah celebration and unbelievable heartbeats performance that marked the end of your senior year. Among you are athletes and artists of phenomenal talent, passionate advocates for Israel, scholars of great academic drive and promise. We are so proud of the ways that you have grown into committed, accomplished, skilled, and self-aware women over the past 4 years, and your graduation is truly a bittersweet moment for us. I would like to share with you one of my very favorite ideas in Torah. which I think of often because of its relevance to the kinds of decisions that one frequently encounters in life. Rav Elchanan Samet points out that the story of Milchemet Amalek in Shmot Perek Yud Zayin unfolds simultaneously in two locations. On the battlefield, Yehoshua leads the army in combat, while on the mountaintop, Moshe Rabbeinu lifts his hands toward heaven in an act of spiritual leadership. Rav Samet divides the words of the psukim between those that describe the scene on the battlefield and those that describe the scene on the mountaintop, and in doing so, he notes an interesting characteristic of the narrative. The psukim that form the story of the battlefield can be read as a continuous independent unit. Even though the descriptions of the battlefield and the mountaintop are intertwined in the text, nonetheless, the words that refer to the battlefield can be extricated from the narrative, and they can be read smoothly on their own without changing any words. By contrast, the mountaintop psukim cannot be read independently. When one tries to read these psukim on their own, it becomes immediately apparent that they're grammatically and conceptually nonsensical when divorced from the surrounding story. This distinction makes sense intuitively. The war on the battlefield can be understood on its own as a historical event. The events that unfold on the mountaintop, by contrast, represent the metaphysical background to the battle between Am Yisrael and Amalek. They cannot be divorced from the actual war. I think that this literary point about Milchemet Amalek carries a message that is particularly relevant today as you think about the rest of your lives and prepare for the journeys that lie ahead of you. There are times that one's life becomes overshadowed by the details, by the daily responsibilities and experiences of living. At these times, it may be hard to lift one's eyes from the battlefield and focus on one's most personal, deeply held beliefs and dreams and values. And my most heartfelt hope for you today is that as you move beyond the halls of our school, that you build lives in which the mundane demands and necessities of life are a means toward supporting the values and hopes that you cherish, lives in which your eyes remain trained on the mountaintop. May the everyday features of your life speak of a deeper meaning, and may you always keep sight of the beliefs and the aspirations that are dearest to you and that define your relationship with yourselves and with the Ribono Shel Olam. I'd like to share with you three pieces of advice that I found helpful and meaningful in trying to build a life that is focused not just on the mountaintop, and not just on the battlefield, but also on the mountaintop. The first is, never be afraid to change your mind. Among the stories that were told after the Patira of Harav Amital, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, one of those that I found the most moving was written by Rabbi Reuven Ziegler and appeared in the fall 2010 issue of Tradition. He writes, about 10 years ago, Rav Amital was handed a draft of a book someone had written about his thought. I asked a person in the know what Rav Amital thought of it. He said he didn't like it because it presented him as having changed his mind. He paused and added, but then he changed his mind. Rabbi Ziegler goes on to recount, in 1995, I was present when Rav Amital told a gathering of the Kollel that he did not feel women needed to study Talmud. His grandmother and mother had been very pious Jews without it. A year or two later, he addressed a women's learning program with the words, I used to think that Talmud study for women was unnecessary, but now I think that it is absolutely essential. Soon afterwards, Yeshivat Har Etzion decided to open a women's division in Migdal Oz, where Talmud study is a major part of the curriculum. It is a mark of humility, wisdom, and greatness to recognize that our ideas and opinions can change as we learn new information and reevaluate that which we believe to be true. Being honest with yourself requires you not to feel confined to a single, unchanging position. As Rabbi Ziegler wrote, with Rav Amital, you never knew what he was going to say next. Even into his 70s and 80s, he maintained his dynamism, continuing to consider matters afresh and never losing the capacity to surprise. Another advantage of being willing to change your mind is that it frees you to imagine without constraint. There are so many paths open to you as you enter your adult lives. Perhaps you'll choose to devote yourselves to spreading and deepening the knowledge of Torah, or to improving medical care in developing countries, or strengthening Medinat Yisrael through your active participation, or a career of political activism, or writing a novel, or feeding the needy. Knowing that you are not irrevocably bound to any one option allows you to imagine possibilities without fear, and Be'ezrat Hashem, to accomplish greater and bolder things as a result. The second piece of advice I'd like to share, which is related to the first, is that anything worth doing is worth doing with passion. The danger of being willing to change one's mind and to move from idea to idea is that one might come to move from one idea to another without ever becoming meaningfully and fully invested in anything. Nothing great in any sphere of life can be accomplished without passion. This is the meaning of the Ma'amar Chazal that Kol Hagadol Mechaveiro Yitzro Gadol Himenu, that anyone who is morally greater than his fellow also has a greater Yetzer Hara than him. Chazal are teaching us that greatness requires passion, which is a quality of the Yetzer Hara as well as the Yetzer HaTov, and that anyone who has achieved high moral stature has done so in part because he or she is able to access that kind of emotional intensity. One of the figures from American history that I associate most closely with a transformative capacity of wholehearted, passionate commitment is Theodore Roosevelt. Roosevelt is famous for his illustrious and varied political career, including, of course, serving as President of the United States. He's almost as well known for the persona that he developed as an explorer, hunter, naturalist, soldier, and lieutenant colonel of the Rough Riders. It's therefore surprising to consider that as a child, Theodore Roosevelt was sickly and asthmatic and actually came close several times to dying from lack of oxygen. However, he had a passionate, enthusiastic personality, and at the age of 12, when his family doctor encouraged him to begin a weightlifting regimen, he threw himself into this pursuit and subsequently into other forms of physical exercise. After he was ambushed by some other boys as a teenager, he decided to learn how to box. He ultimately became not only healthy, but an avid sportsman, in addition to being the youngest president in the history of the United States. And I think that his life story exemplifies the way that passion and commitment can change a person's destiny. My third and final piece of advice that I'd like to share with you this evening is to remember to show love to the people that you love. Life is much sweeter when it is filled with the safety and joy of well-tended relationships. I once read that Rav Reuven Feinstein said that there were 3 specific nonverbal ways that his father, Rav Moshe Feinstein, expressed love for him as a child. The first was that on cold winter mornings on the Lower East Side, his father would place his children's clothing on the radiator so that they would have the comfort of dressing in warm clothing. Rav Reuven also remembered that he always got to sit next to his father at the Shabbos table, even when the family hosted world-famous, illustrious Torah scholars. The third memory that Rav Reuven shared was that his family spent each summer in the Catskills on a farm, and that every day there was a farm worker who would drive his truck to town and give the children the opportunity to take a hayride on the back of the truck. Although Rav Reuven and his father, Rav Moshe, had a chavrusa every day, Rav Moshe would stop the chavrusa if he saw that the hayride was about to depart and would encourage his son to enjoy the hayride and come back to learn later. Rav Reuven's recollections of his father's thoughtfulness are reminders that making the time for small acts of love can make the difference between closeness and distance in a relationship and in our avodas Hashem. At your stage in life, you too have many opportunities to build relationships with your family members that reflect appreciation and empathy by taking the time to devote to the people closest to you and finding ways to express your appreciation for them and your enjoyment of the activities that they enjoy most. And in fact, your grade exemplifies to me the value of developing close relationships and nurturing those relationships on a daily basis. Your grade stands out for its inclusivity and for the friendships that have flowered among you irrespective of the superficial personal differences that sometimes stand in the way of developing friendships with another person. You are not a competitive grade, but one that has consistently valued friendships above personal success and glory. May that kindness, respect, and empathy follow you throughout your lives. As you move on to begin your adult lives, know that you carry with you the love and good wishes of all of your teachers and guidance counselors and administrators who feel richer for the experience of having learned with you for the past 4 years. May you live lives of meaning, substance, and love, lives that are shaped by the Torah and its values, that speak of a commitment to the Jewish community and the world community. We love you, and we will miss you deeply next year and always. I'm now pleased to present the Salutatorian of the class of 2019, Tamara Leiser. Throughout high school, Tamar has brought to the classroom and to our school community exceptional talent, an authentic love of learning new ideas, and a wonderful sense of humor and optimism. She brings together intellectual curiosity and intellectual humility in a way that's truly remarkable, and in doing so models both the joy and the rigor of learning. It is a great pleasure to present Tamar Leiser to share some words of Torah.
Birshut, Mrs. Kahan, Mrs. Appel, Mrs. Braun, teachers, friends, families, and fellow graduates. This week's Parsha, Parshat Naso, is the longest Parsha, with 176 psukim, 2,264 words, and 8,632 letters. 72 psukim of the Parsha speak of the Nesiim, the leaders of each shevet bringing gifts to the newly finished Mishkan. The Nesiim each brought identical gifts to the Mishkan, yet in these 72 psukim, the ones that describe the gifts are repeated for each of the Nesiim. When learning these psukim, I was curious why the Torah felt the need to repeat those psukim 12 times, rather than introducing all of the Nesiim and then saying that they all brought the same gifts. It's a common idea that the Torah does not waste even a single letter, that everything has a meaning and could teach us something relevant and important. Therefore, why did the Torah repeat the same 5 psukim for each of the Nesiim instead of mentioning the gifts just once? Rabbeinu Bachya resolved this problem in his commentary on Bamidbar. He explained that even though the gifts were physically identical, in reality they were all unique. It's impossible for 2 people to have the same exact thoughts, and so the meaning and intent behind each gift must have been unique to the Nasi who brought it. If the Torah had mentioned the gifts that the Nesiim brought only once, and had not used the seemingly extra words to describe each Nasi's gift separately, the individual meanings behind each gift would have been lost. Even though they all brought the same silver bowl, Nachshon from Shevet Yehuda had Shlomo HaMelech and Mashiach in mind, both of whom come from Yehuda, while Netanel from Yisachar, the Shevet known for Torah knowledge, gave the same silver bowl with the Torah in mind. Rabbeinu Bachya goes on to show that every word in the 5 psukim describing the gifts can be explained and associated in some way with the Shevet's intentions, even though the same words are used for each one. By separating each Nasi and his gifts from the others, the Torah was able to show that each gift, while physically identical, was actually completely unique in terms of the meaning behind it. Each Nasi and each Shevet had their own thoughts and intentions when they brought the gifts, so therefore, the Torah describes the gifts separately for each one. Throughout our years at Maayanot, we have attended the same classes and learned the same subjects, receiving identical gifts through our education. However, just like the Nesiim, whose physically identical gifts were actually unique to themselves, our gifts are dramatically different depending on the person. Each of us is leaving Maayanot with something unique from our time here because of the fact that we're individuals. Although we are here to celebrate our moving on from Maayanot, we are also here to celebrate the unique gift that Maayanot has given each of us, which we can utilize wherever we go from here. Because of our education, each of us can now go out and change the world in our own way. My wish for my fellow graduates is that we are all able to use our individual gifts to succeed at whatever we choose to do after we graduate from Maayanot.
Thank you, Tamar. That was beautiful. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I'm Tamara Pell. I'm the Associate Principal of Maayanot. Mazel tov to all of our graduates. We're so proud of all of you collectively and individually. You'll note in your programs national awards that our seniors have earned this year, as well as awards that were presented at senior dinner. Additionally, at graduation, we present awards that families have endowed as a beautiful way of supporting the school and honoring students. Department chairs will now present these awards.
Hello, my name is Coach Jen Sanders. If you can't recognize, I have my keys. Sylvia Schusterman was an all-round athlete as well, at a time when it was impolite for young ladies to sweat. She played punchball as a kid with the boys in the street of Williamsburg, tennis as a young mom, took up golf in her later years, and could beat her grandchildren in bowling well into her 70s. She faced adversity with fortitude and set an example of what being a strong woman was. Her family follows to this day. Esther Avidan is talented in so many different sports, such as soccer, basketball, softball, and hockey, just to name a few. When asked to be described by some of her coaches, Coach Ziggy, her varsity soccer coach of 4 years, said, "She truly is a once-in-a-4-year talent. From her shot to her motivation, to her work ethic. She's a special player, both on and off the field. She has grown up as both a person and a leader right before our eyes." Her hockey coach, Aaron Goldwasser, said, "She was an integral piece of the team after only starting to play hockey in her junior year. Her heart and determination throughout the course of the year were unparalleled. Her constant desire to succeed and to learn really sets her apart from her peers. It's been a pleasure to coach her." I am proud to present Esther Avidan with the Sylvia Schusterman Athlete of the Year Award on behalf of the Schusterman family, and wish Esther good luck in her bright future.
Good evening. My name is Suzanne Cohen, and I'm chair of the Tanakh department. In choosing the recipient for the Hirsch and Fanny Fluss Memorial Award for Excellence in Navi, we looked for a student who has demonstrated a strong desire to learn and a commitment to the study of Navi, both in and out of the classroom. This year's recipient is someone who has met both of those criteria admirably. Passionate about learning for its own sake, even as she is constantly aware of Chazal's teaching that the lessons of Navi are the lessons from which each generation is to draw its own personal and national messages. From her constant interaction with the text, to her hallmark post-its attached to almost every page of her Tanakh, to the reading that she pursued outside of the classroom, this student not only grew in her own learning, but made the rest of us grow as well. She is thus a deserving choice as recipient of the Hirsch and Fanny Fluss Memorial Award in Navi. We appreciate Dr. Kaplowitz's and Dr. Fluss's desire to honor their father's memory, and we feel confident that we are doing justice to their generosity in granting this award to a most deserving student, Adira Barber.
Erev Tov, Mazal Tov. My name is Merav Taltimen, and I'm the chair of the Hebrew department. The Hirsch and Fanny Memorial Award for Excellence in Hebrew Literature is given to a student who has distinguished herself in the interpretation and appreciation of Hebrew literary texts. The inaugural recipient of this award has exhibited an unusual depth for understanding in this area, integrating her vast knowledge of Tanakh into her Ivrit studies in a manner that enhances her analysis of each. She has a passion for ideas as well as a sensitivity to the nuances of social and historical forces as they play out within Hebrew literature. We appreciate Dr. Kaplowitz's and Dr. Flass's desire to honor their father's memory, and we feel confident that we are doing justice to their memory and generosity in granting this award to a most deserving student, Maayan Hirschkorn. You're going to stand a minute. Throughout her high school career, Maayan stood out in her attitude, her dedication, and her interest towards the Hebrew language. These were apparent in her preparation for class, in her participation, and her constant drive to reach higher and learn more. Maayan's ability to make meaningful connections while analyzing Hebrew literature, ask questions, and add comments during class discussions made it very clear that she had wholeheartedly connected with the themes and concept. Maayan, may the Hebrew language be part of your life always. Kol hakavod lach, ali v'atzlicha.
No, wrong one.
Good evening. I'm Chani Rodenberg, Chair of the History Department, and I'm here to present the Ed Stern Award for Excellence in History. Ed Stern grew up in a time and place that precluded his obtaining even a full high school education. But he was a highly educated man with a special passion for history. He was entirely self-taught. He was curious, he read voraciously, and as a career Navy man, he was well-traveled. He had no children of his own, but he took tremendous pride in giving history lessons to his niece, a current Maayanot staff member, and nephews when home on leave from the Navy. As children, they didn't fully appreciate these lessons, but as adults, they stood in wonder at his grasp of history, geography, and politics. Upon his passing, they endowed this award as a way of honoring his memory and his passion for history. Ed Stern would be pleased with the way history is taught at Maayanot, and he would be proud of this year's winner of the award, Leah Rubenstein. As she too is curious, self-motivated, and a lover of history. Ed, as he liked to be called, would have enjoyed quizzing Leah, and when finished, he would say, "She done good."
Good evening. I'm Chava Lerner, Chair of the Talmud Department. Legendary righteous women have abounded in our history and tradition since the beginning of our nation, but because of social norms, truly learned women have not. Individuals such as Bruria, Rebbe Meir's wife, along with other wives, daughters, and mothers, were notable, probably because they made the most of their husbands', brothers', and sons' education. Rivka Rabstein, legendary Big Bubby of the Silver family who has endowed this award, was such a woman. In the Polish shtetl, she absorbed not just the practical halacha expected from a Hamish balabasta, but the fundamentals of rigorous Torah learning. As family matriarch, she led her family through Eastern Europe to escape from the clutches of the Nazis. Upon arrival in America, she became a pillar of her local Jewish community. Equipped with the keys to both open and close the shul and Beit Midrash each day, Big Bubby Rivka epitomized dedication to Avodat Hashem and Avodat HaKodesh. Rabbis who spoke with her were known to exclaim to her children and her grandchildren, "If she were a man, she would have been a gadol." Not so many generations later, rigorous Torah education for girls is accessible. It is accepted and expected. Young women study Torah Shebaal Peh, excelling in Talmud studies as well as halacha. When once such opportunities were rare, Maayanot provides exceptional text learning skills, B'kiyut, Gemara, and halacha curricula, and in the past has hosted a Yoetzet Halacha program that demonstrates and models women's capability for both halachic scholarship and leadership. Whereas Rivka Rabstein was a remarkable rarity, Today we are blessed with myriads of Talmidot Chachamim, students of our sages, women who truly are links in the chain of Masoret Chazal. This award salutes a graduate who is genuinely a mitzuyanet in Talmud and rabbinic literature, Va'at Alit al Kulana. Malka Feldman. We are excited to present this year's Talmud Award to you. Over her years at Maayanot, Malka has shown passion for and devotion to learning Torah in and out of the classroom. She's a keen analytical thinker, often able to decipher Gemaras and Rishonim on her own, and also anticipate questions that the Rishonim will ask. Malka's Gemara projects have exceeded expectations as she has applied her creative talents to presenting Torah information with both sophistication and artistic flair. Malka's love for learning leads her to pursue many extracurricular Torah opportunities, and we are so proud that Malka is capping off her high school experience with winning second place nationwide in YU's Bronco Weintraub High School B'Kiyut competition. Malka, Ali V'Hatzlachi.
Mazel tov to all of you. I am privileged tonight to introduce this year's class speaker, Shira Glicksman. Shira was elected by her peers to represent them at graduation. On my very first day at Maayanot, before I was even hired, I happened to wander into the Beit Knesset just as room 217, Maayanot's stellar award-winning band, was practicing for their upcoming Battle of the Bands performance. I remember thinking to myself, if this is Maayanot, this is where I have to be. Room 217 with Shira alongside Danit, Elisheva, Panina, and Hannah exhibits so many of the qualities we desire of our students: creativity, passion, fortitude, ingenuity, and teamwork. Shira helped to create a platform for herself that allowed her soul to shine just as HaKadosh Baruch Hu intends. And that's what Maayanot is all about. Maayanot is about Shira Glicksman not only strapping on her bass, but picking up the microphone to rap with all the confidence in the world. Shira's wonderful sense of humor, her loyalty and commitment to her friends, and her immeasurable talents have helped define not only the character of this year's graduating class, but also the spirit of our school as a whole. We congratulate you, Shira, on this honor, and welcome to the podium.
Hey guys. Hey. Breshut, honored guests, community leaders, faculty, family, and friends. I'm actually surprised to see that everyone got here on time, considering the transportation problems we've been having this past week. But anyway, we find ourselves here today, standing at a defining moment of our high school careers. But this moment is not only the defining moment of our experience here at Maayanot. The truth is, this is a culmination of a series of defining moments that tell the tale of our time here within these hallowed and very thin walls. It's tempting to focus on the big moments we've had, such as this graduation or being stuck in the middle of the ocean in a thunderstorm. But I think it's important to focus on the little things as well. We came here as innocent freshmen, barely even knowing how to walk through the halls at a normal speed. But by now, we've developed the aquatic skills necessary to traverse through the depths of our very own Lake Maayanot. We've come a very long way since that first year. Unfortunately, that's the extent of my recollection of freshman year, so I guess that brings us to sophomore year. We have those memories of big moments, such as when our beloved and much revered laser printer, which could no longer take all the attention it got, exploded in a ball of fire. But we also had the less celebrated moments, like when we bonded over our Color War song. We may not have won that year, or the year after, or the year after, but it really brought us together as a grade. Sophomore year ended with the founding of the iconic Instagram page, Maayanot Memes. And with, Maayanot Memes, go follow. And with chesed forms still not being handed in. PSA, Ms. Mallon asked me to announce that if anyone still has not handed in their forms, you have about 5 more minutes to do so, so get on that. Then began junior year, as our minds filled with knowledge, the parking lot filled with more water. BuzzFeed was finally blocked on the school Wi-Fi, and as a result, we suddenly discovered a phenomenon called paying attention in class. Color war came and went with victory still out of reach. That didn't dampen our spirits when junior sleepover came around. We played a Purge-themed game of hide and seek, and as per Maayanot regulations, we ate nonstop. I think it's also worth mentioning that this event foreshadowed Mrs. Wile's career as world's most calm and collected chaperone. Shout out to Mrs. Weil and the white bus. As senior year approached, we gained one of Maayanot's most important allies. Everyone please give a hand for Julio. Este edificio no estaría aquí si no fuera por ti. Senior year started off strong when at Shabbaton, the teachers had to pull us away from our kumsitz, kicking and screaming, and of course, there was a lot of crying. Our ruach is just that strong. We were soon introduced to our anthem, Bum Bum Senior Kala, which carried us through whirlwinds of a senior year. Some may have been wondering if we finally won color war. The answer is no, and I shouldn't go into too much detail, but we definitely learned an important lesson. Never be afraid to speak your mind. You might just be rewarded with pancakes. Which brings me to my suggestion to the faculty. I think it might be a good marketing idea in following years to replace Parsha and pizza with protest and pancakes. You might get some good business with that one. As our time at Maayanot came to a close, we left our mark by not only winning first place at Battle of the Bands, shout out to Room 217, but by introducing the school to the magic of live mariachi music. Then came senior trip. What an adventure. We ended off our senior year with a bang, and a crash, and a fire, and another fire, and an extra night at a Holiday Inn in Delaware. Woo! And now we find ourselves here at graduation, a defining moment. As Vincent van Gogh said, great things are done in a series of small things that are brought together. So as much as I mentioned the big moments, I encourage everyone to remember the smaller moments as well that we've all had together and the little ways we've all impacted each other. Torah was learned, emails were sent, typos were made, friendships were forged, and most importantly, memories were shared. Our years here at Maayanot were truly a gift not to be taken for granted. From the amazing faculty to the supportive learning atmosphere and achdut that we've had, Maayanot has played such an important role in shaping who we are today. And in the wise words of Malka Feldman, don't hate, graduate! Skr, skr! Woo!
I'm now pleased to present the valedictorian of the class of 2019, Noah Berkowitz. Noah is a student whose love of learning and outstanding intellectual curiosity have impelled her to seek the greatest challenge in every academic area, even creating new opportunities where they didn't exist in many cases. She is a student of exceptional talent, whose intellectual drive is matched by a commitment to the community around her. She is a true leader who contributes her talents generously and is always seeking to grow and to contribute. It's my great pleasure to present Noah Berkowitz.
Birshut, Mrs. Kahan, Mrs. Appel, Mrs. Braun, rabbis, teachers, families, and fellow graduates. This year, my classmates and I participated in the YU Bakia program, through which we were Messiah Masachet Megillah. Masachet Megillah is full of interesting anecdotes and sayings, and I'd love to share a few of my favorites with you. To start, one Purim, as a recipient of Mishloach Manot, Abaye was fed 60 plates of 60 cooked dishes, and he ate 60 portions of each. Even after eating all the food, Abaye said that he was still hungry and he wanted to eat the plate of the last dish. Abaye then introduces a famous saying, Ravcha lebesu me'eshachicha. This loosely translates to there's always room for dessert. While I personally like to apply this whenever possible in my life and suggest you all do the same, this isn't the focus of my speech today. A more significant sugya that stood out to me came after 4 rabbis suggested proofs as to how we know that Megillat Esther is a divine book written with Ruach HaKodesh. Years after the initial debate between the rabbis, Shmuel presents a proof, claiming his proof to be better than all those that had been previously offered. Shmuel says that the words kimu v'kiblu are proof of divine inspiration in the Megillah's writing. He proves this by saying kimu, they confirmed, refers to accepting in heaven what they makabel, what they took upon themselves on earth. Without divine intervention, there would be no way to know about an arrangement made in heaven. The Gemara goes on to take issue with the 4 original proposals, proving that Shmuel was correct. His proof was in fact the best. At the end of this incident, Ravina introduces what he calls a common saying, Tava chada pilpata charifta memali sani kari. This is literally translated to mean 1 sharp pepper is better than a basket full of pumpkins. Ravina is saying that sometimes one person is stronger or more valuable than a whole group of people. Ravina's statement came as a surprise to me. After all, in the very same Masechet, just 2 dapim earlier, we had learned Tovim Hashnayim min ha'echad, which means 2 are better than 1. This sentiment sounded much more familiar to me than Ravina's statement. In their book, The Knowledge Illusion, Stephen Sloman and Philip Fernbach point out that unlike animals, when people interact with each other, not only are they sharing an experience, but they are aware that they are focused on the same event. This unique ability to share attention positively affects our ability to accomplish things together. When we share attention to something or someone, we are on common ground. I know that you know, that I know that you know, that I know what you're thinking. And because of this, we can collaborate on a deep level. Sloman and Fernbach explain that our understanding of this comes from the work of Russian psychologist Lev Vygotsky, who argues, quote, that it is not individual brain power that distinguishes human beings. It is that humans can learn through other people and culture, and people can collaborate. They engage with others in collective activities. In other words, what an individual human can accomplish is not what separates us from animals. Rather, it's the unique ability to collaborate that makes us human. Throughout these past 4 years of Maayanot, the concept of Tovim Hashnayim min ha'echad has been instilled in us. In every aspect of our experience, both in and out of the classroom, we have been taught and have hopefully learned to work together. The most obvious example of this is learning Bechavruta. While this is definitely expected in a Gemara Tanakh class, it is also routine at Maayanot to learn Bechavruta in other classes as well, including math, history, and English. The idea of working together reaches far beyond the classroom. The class of 2019 has become known for our tendency to break out into coincidences at random points and sometimes strange locations, like a random rest stop in Delaware. Now, let's just say not all our voices are heartbeats ready, but when we all sing together, that doesn't matter. Sitting in a circle with our arms around each other, we lose the individual voices and discover the new singular voice of our grade. In this school, we have all been taught to believe Tovim Hashnayim min ha'echad and have adapted our lives to create systems that provide for the most collaboration. Yet I think that we don't have to disregard the Gemara's other comment of Tava chada pilpata charifta memali sani kari. I think these seemingly opposing ideas can be reconciled. Looking back at the context of the line, Tava chada pilpata charifta memali sani kari, we have to recognize that Shmuel didn't just wake up one morning with a better answer than everyone before him. Rather, his insight came from years of nurture, learning Bechavruta, and from teachers. Despite having learned the opinions of the rabbis who came before him, Shmuel was not afraid to challenge what had been accepted and suggest his own original answer. Having had the benefit of learning from all who came before him, Shmuel was able to prosper within the collaborative system of Talmud Torah. In learning Torah, we work together, and still, it is also crucial for each of us to maintain individuality in order to best contribute to the group. Consider the difference between a library and a Beit Midrash. In a library, one quietly sits and reads as she soaks up knowledge from the works of others. In a Beit Midrash, each individual has to literally find her own voice to engage in her expression of learning, and then that voice contributes to others' learning as well. Adam Grant, in his book Originals, points out that very often we are at our most innovative when we've learned from the ideas and works of others. He quotes a study that shows that 47% of pioneer businesses fail, whereas only 8% of businesses that later on build on failed ideas of others fail themselves. Grant's work complements the idea of Ezehu Hacham Halomed Mikol Adam. Success can be obtained by observing others before you and developing your original ideas from the knowledge gained from past failures. At Maayanot, as individuals and together, we have had ample opportunities to create new initiatives and change what was established before us. Whether it's starting a band and winning first place in Battle of the Bands, or proving that any grade can lose color more than once, we are surrounded by opportunities to push the boundaries. However, we recognize that those boundaries have already been changed by those who came before us, and we have to acknowledge and celebrate the fact that that which we have created will be reshaped again by the students who will follow us. Each one of us who can tonight reflect on a wonderful moment of individual accomplishment does so in the context of our predecessors, the faculty, and our families, whose efforts have enabled our innovations. And we can also be proud that undoubtedly, that which we have done together will facilitate someone else's next great accomplishment. We leave here together knowing that we are each ready to collaborate, innovate, and accomplish. Now let's go do it.
Noah Berkowitz. Danit Foreman. Abigail Kamenetsky. Allie Brandwine. Adira Barber. Hannah Merchinsky Height. Salamuna Richter. Julia Rose. Leah Rubenstein. Lauren Becker. Dahlia Schwartz. Bina Rosenblatt. Shoshana Berger. Tehila Shedlow. Meira Baum. Naama Katz. Sylvie Koule. Dahlia Adams. Aviva Wagner. Penina Krischer. Ayelet Handel. Tamar Leiser. Shira Glicksman. Ronit Shrem. Leora Fishman. Meira Book. Shoshi Fogelman. Atara Prinitz. Naami Kutin. Abigail Goldberg. Meira Cohen. Tova Rubin. Mimi Palay. Ayala Kalimnet. Shoshi Blech. Ricky Weiss. Kayla Michelle. Iti Groman. Elisheva Axelrod. Yael Brook. Eden Schechter. Maya Wynn. Talia Simpson. Sarah Rosenfeld. Maayan Hirschkorn. Esther Avidan. Nava Benoff. Batsheva Daddle-Kramer. Gila Segalov. Kineret Levin. Abigail Halpert. Kayla Guralnik. Naomi Brook. Rebecca Cooper. Chaya Ross. Kayla Tarlow. Ariella Rosenkrantz. Leah Markowitz. Mia Nissel. Adina Nadel. Hannah Grossman. Kayla Markovitz. Cesar. Shira Devora Luban. Miriam Hoffman. Eliana Aschendorf. Eliana Leibowitz. And Lily Fuchs. Mazel Tov, Maayanot class of 2019. Our new graduates will now march outside of the gym. Please join us downstairs for a collation. Thank you very much, and Mazel Tov to all of you.